Scheduled meeting for the month of August 2022. If you could all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If you all be seated, please. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll.
Councillor Bouchard. Here. Mayor Boulay.
Here.
Councillor Brown. Here. Councillor Champlin.
Here.
Councillor Fennessy.
Here.
Councillor Grady Sexton. Here. Councillor Keach.
Here.
Councillor Kretovic. Here. Councillor Mattson. Here. Councillor McLaughlin.
She's excused.
Councillor McNamara. Here. Councillor Nyan.
Present.
Councillor Pierce.
Here.
Councillor Rice Hawkins.
She's excused.
And Councillor Todd.
Here. Okay, good to see everyone. We have the minutes before us for July 11th, 2022. Does anybody have any comments? Do we have a motion?
Approval? Second.
Motion made, second to approve the minutes. Seeing no comments. Ready for the question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We have tonight our consent agenda item before us. I do not have anything being removed. Is that correct? Okay, I'll simply note that
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. I would like to recuse myself from item number 11.
okay,
And items 15 and 16, Your Honor.
that's what I was waiting for. There you go. Okay. All righty, thank you. And I also have Council Keach on item number 7. So with that, does anybody have anything to take up? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We did the motion, right? All right, try it again.
Yeah.
So,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
At least I caught it this time, right? Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Still passes. Okay, takes us to our public hearing this evening. We have a bunch of public hearings, and so be patient. And Madam Clerk, item 22A, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title II Traffic Code, Chapter 18 Parking, Article 18-1, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, parking prohibited at all times in designated places on Eastern Avenue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, as member of the council, Paula Cantara contacted the city concerning on-street parking located at Eastern Avenue. Ms. Cantana was concerned about vehicles parking on both sides of the street, thus restricting traffic, particularly emergency vehicles. She was also concerned about vehicles parking on the north side of the road, directly behind her parents' driveway, thus making it challenging for them to exit their property. She requested that parking be restricted to the north side of the road. The parking committee reviewed it quite often, actually several times, and the committee voted unanimously to the city council to approve an ordinance restricting parking on the north side of Eastern Avenue after looking at the specifics. Glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the manager? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22B, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title II Traffic Code, Chapter 18 Parking, Article 18-1, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 18-1-7, Parking prohibited during certain hours in designated places, Schedule 2, and Section 18-1-16, Handicap Parking, South Fruit Street.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, Brian Bardo, a resident of 18 South Fruit Street, contacted the city and requested the establishment of an on-street handicap parking space along the frontage of his property. The parking committee voted unanimously to recommend that the city's council approve the attached ordinance, which you have in front of you, establishing an on-street handicap accessible space along the frontage of 18 South Fruit Street. Said space shall be expressly exempt for the aforementioned school no parking zone regulations. No parking September 1 through June 30th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Glad to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions for the manager? Seeing that, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify? Seeing that, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22C, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I, General Code, Chapter 1, Government Organization, Article 1-5, Fees, Fines, and Penalties.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
And members of the council, most of the departmental fee increases that were looked at were put on hold pending the outcome of the ad hoc committee to review fee schedules. During their meeting held on May 25th, 2022, the committee reviewed and discussed the park and recreation fee changes, including fees assessed for the use of city-owned facilities. Additionally, the committee decided to recommend to council all other departments' fees not previously discussed, with the exception of community development, as these fees will be discussed at future committee meetings and presented to the council at a later date. City Council previously approved revised or new fees for engineering inspection permits, the arena ice rates, fees, and golf course daily rates and membership fees. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
You see there's a table attached for that.
Appreciate that. Anybody have any questions for the manager?
Quick
Councilor Pierce.
question, Mr. Manager, these fee increases are based on actual costs?
Yes.
Yes.
And we also look many times at market also,
Okay, all right, thank you.
Not for the community center, right?
not for the community center.
No, not all of them.
Not all, but
The fee committee significantly reduced so that everyone ideally would have access. So no, it is not,
Okay,
it is far below.
right, those fees, but there's other fees.
True,
Yeah,
yes.
right, yeah.
all right, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing anybody wishing to testify on this item? Seeing none, close public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22D, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title V, Administrative Code, Chapter 35, Classification and Compensation Plan, Schedule D of Article 35-2, Class Specification Index, modifying and adding positions specified for fiscal year 2023.
Mr. Manager.
Members of the council, the positions have been classified per the ordinance. Schedule D must be modified in order to properly amend the city's position classification system. All of these items were talked about during the budget and either in the transmittal letter or as part of the budget. And what you can see is some of them really just title changes, others are title changes and position upgrades, and other ones are just position upgrades.
Anybody have any questions? So which ones are title upgrades? 'Cause
So
right now, it looks like the assistant highways utilities, equipment maintenance, payroll coordinator, police dispatcher, those are all, you know, if you read the explanation, those would be bold italicized, so they'd be new to the ordinance.
right, so they're not, right, so what we did was we changed the position titles, made the upgrades, and then the intent is not to fill the previous positions. So there are no new, there are new positions, but no new employees.
They're simply new titles, that's all.
Exactly.
All right, I think that's important, though.
Yes, they're not,
We didn't add 4 new people
no, we didn't.
to the budget. Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, anyone wish to testify on this item? Open the public hearing. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and Madam Clerk, item 22E, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $34,600 to demolish, remove, and dispose of the hazardous building at 107 through 109 South Main Street in Concord, and authorizing the use of $34,600 from general fund unassigned fund balance for this purpose.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, the city required that this building be demolished. The property owner failed to comply with the council's order in 2021. Staff made multiple attempts to contact the owner and seek his compliance without success. City council voted to appropriate $32,100 to demolish, remove, and dispose of the hazardous building at its June 13, 2022 meeting. Unfortunately, the Merrimack County District Court subsequently advised the city they would not be able to hear the city's motion for summary enforcement before the end of the fiscal year. This was a necessary step prior to demolition. This new appropriation resolution replaces the original and relies on fiscal year '23 dollars instead of fiscal year '22 dollars. It's the same intent to demolish the building.
Thank you. Any questions for the manager? Okay, seeing that, Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. So just from an accounting standpoint, are we just taking the money that we previously appropriated in 2022 and moving them to 2023, or?
No, because that money would have been, goes now to the year end of 2022, so it's new money for 2023. But remember, this is a lien that you then place on the property, so the taxpayers won't be paying for this ultimately. You'll get the money back.
Any further questions? Okay, with that, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify? Seeing none, none, we'll close public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22F, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $24,826.39 as a transfer to the opioid abatement reserve for fiscal year 2023 and accepting the sum of $24,826.39 in litigation settlement funds for this purpose.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
Any questions? Seeing none, at this time, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22G, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $11,357.41 to support the Parks and Recreation Department Youth Camp Scholarship Program and accepting the sum of $11,357.41 as a donation from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation for this purpose.
Mr. Manager.
Your Honor, nothing to add other than I'd like to thank the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation for their generous support.
Thank you. Anyone else? Questions? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Item 22H, please.
It's a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept and interest in a conservation easement for property owned by the Potter Family Farm Trust located at 171 Oak Hill Road, appropriating the sum of $224,500 to purchase a conservation easement, open space conservation, CIP number 352, and authorizing the use of $224,500 in conservation trust funds for this purpose.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, I'd like to ask Assistant City Planner Beth Venstermark to come forward and Jim Hours from the Conservation Commission to come forward and present.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Councilors. I'll just give a quick introduction. So we've been working with the Potter Family Trust for the past 2 years. This is an important agricultural parcel on Oak Hill Road. If you've been out there, you'll see that scenic vista that looks out on Turtle Pond. This is an important parcel in the historic agricultural neighborhood. So we're excited to have this opportunity to conserve this parcel. By placing the easement on this, this will help the family keep this land in active agricultural use, which helps with our local food supply. So I'll let Jim Hours talk more about the property and the process.
So actually, the total appraised value of this land is $449,000. We're paying half the purchase price for the easement. The other half is coming from a grant from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is an agency of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. There are also grants coming from the New Hampshire Moose Plate Fund and the Merrimack Conservation Partnership for closing costs and stewardship expenses. The Five Rivers Conservation Trust is a partner with us. They're going to be the primary monitoring the easement. We have an executory interest, meaning that if Five Rivers is unable to complete its obligations, then we step into their shoes and do what Five Rivers needed to do. The easement land consists of approximately 86 acres. It's separated into 2 parcels by Oak Hill Road. The southern parcel consists of 27 acres of open fields between Oak Hill Road and Turtle Pond, which gives you that view up over the broken ground ridge line. 75% of that land is classified as having significant agricultural statewide importance. As Beth said, it's been farmed by the Potter family for generations. It also has over 2,000 feet of frontage on Turtle Pond and 1,100 feet of frontage on Oak Hill Road. The other parcel, which is north of Oak Hill Road, is about 56 acres. There will be a house reserved out of that portion of the land for the Potter family. The land is mostly forested now and will continue to develop either timber products, and I believe it's also used for maple sugaring. If you looked at the plan on the in the materials, you'll see that this parcel is almost surrounded by other conservation land. There are 2 private parcels. There's city conservation land and state conservation land, and the north part of the property actually touches with the Oak Hill Conservation Project, and there are 2 trails that run right along the northern and western border. The land will provide a wooded buffer for those trails. It will also provide emergency access to the top of Oak Hill. There's an old forest road. The the southern parcel abuts a city and state wildlife management area on Turtle Pond. It will also, the easement will also protect the water quality of Turtle Pond, which is a favorite spot for fishermen and kayakers, actually fishermen winter and summer, and there's a boat launch off Oak Hill Road. The funds from the city are from the Conservation Trust Fund, which the city established for just this kind of purchase. We had a public hearing on June 8 and voted unanimously to make a disbursement from the fund of $22,224,500, so which is what we are asking you to ratify today, plus the acceptance of the executory easement. The appraiser noted that the only really suitable purpose in terms of housing would be for a state lot, as he called them. This is well beyond the urban compact zone, an area where there's no city water or sewerage. The land is all in current use, so the impact on city revenues and property taxes is minimal to none, I would say. So for those reasons, we are asking you to support the resolution and allow the city manager to proceed.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions? Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. You mentioned that this is outside of the area where there would be water, city water. Are there any electrical or other utilities on either of these parcels?
Oh, there's definitely utilities along Oak Hill Road. Just there's no water or sewer.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
This time, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify on this item? Come on, neighbor, what do you want to do?
Well, they said what I was going to say.
All right.
I'll be real quick. Very thorough. Hold on.
Good evening and welcome.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Evans, and I am the Director of Conservation at Five Rivers Conservation Trust. We will be the primary easement holders on the conservation easement on the Potter Farm, and I've been working with the City Conservation Commission to move this project forward. We also have submitted grant proposals to the aforementioned agencies, the USDA, NRCS, Merrimack Conservation Partnership, and the State Moose Plate Fund. We are really excited about this project and grateful for the city's support.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Good to see you as always. Your lawn's getting a little long there, buddy.
Yeah, I gotta get my kid on that.
Okay, anyone else wishing to testify? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Madam Clerk, item 22I, please.
It's a discretionary preservation easement request for property located at 184 Lakeview Drive, owned by the Floyd Atwater 2019 Trust per RSA 79D.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
And members of the council, I ask the city assessor to come forward, make this presentation and the next one when the time comes for that.
Good evening and welcome.
The first preservation easement tonight that was before you, and the property owners are here, second row back, is the barn at 184 Lakeview Drive. And I hope that all of you had an opportunity to look at the photos that were sent in by the property owners and that we took to verify what the condition of the property was. So in the comments for the discretionary easement, just quickly, it's an 1869 barn. It was part of the Daniel Abbott house, so there is signage out front, and there is a timber frame steel roof with the stone and a hidden concrete block foundation. And the barn retains many of its original features, such as the center L plank floor, tie stall areas for the cows, horse box stall, tack and feed rooms, etc. The present owners have already started to do some improvements on the property to take care of the dry rot. And the purpose of the conservation easement is to encourage that the property owners continue to maintain the property to keep it there for the scenic enjoyment of others for in the future.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and Madam Clerk, if you could read the last item, 22J, please.
It's a discretionary preservation easement request for property located at 35 Mountain Road, owned by Keith Michael and Jillian Kristen Curley per RSA 79D.
Thank you very much. Ms. Demchak.
Mr. Curley is here this evening in case you have questions about the property. This one is at 35 Mountain Road. This particular property is a little different in that most of the properties we have the uniqueness or what we're focusing on, and again, we're still focusing on the barn, but what is unique about this particular property is that the home itself was the home of Stiles Bridges, and he lived here when he campaigned as New Hampshire governor and for the U.S. Senate seat. So there is some history about formerly Governor Stiles. He lived in the house with his family. He did serve one term as governor and then was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1936, and he was as known as one of the most influential U.S. senators of the New Deal and post-World War II eras. In 1940, he was actually a candidate for the Republican nomination for the presidency. He resided in the home from 1933 to 1946. This particular barn still has the original wide floor boards, 2 horse stalls with demising walls and doors, and an area for the hay chute as well as the hay loft to the stalls below.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wish to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And before you go, since this may be one of the last times we get to see you, I just wanted to say all the best wishes in retirement, and it has been an absolute joy and pleasure to work with you, and we'll get to say goodbye again, I'm sure, but I just publicly want you to know how much we really appreciate and value.
Thank you very much. It's
everything
been a
you've done.
pleasure working for this city. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, it takes us to our action phase. Madam Clerk, item 23, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title II, Traffic Code, Chapter 18, Parking, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, parking prohibited at all times in designated places, Eastern Avenue.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, motion is adopted. Madam Clerk, item 24, please.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title II, Traffic Code, Chapter 18, Parking, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, parking prohibited during certain hours in designated places, handicap parking for South Fruit Street.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Council Fennessy.
So I just had more of a question. It seems that this handicap parking space is generally associated with the occupant of the house. Do we generally have like a sunset provision on the ordinance in any way?
We talked about that at the parking committee. I think they would probably come back and review it at that time. But when you listen to the situation, it just seemed to make sense. And it didn't seem like a big ask. It's one spot. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with the house and the neighbors, and I've heard very good things about the occupant. But I just, my only thing is that I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of this if this person moves out at some point.
Yep, absolutely. Hey,
Just
Councilman Bashir.
to clarify,
Mayor Pro Tem.
I totally support this, but the handicap spot, is it dedicated just to that house, or there's another handicap driver? They would
That's
be able
not
to
dedicated to anyone other than being dedicated to being handicapped.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. We have the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the ayes have it. Madam Clerk, item 25, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I, General Code, Chapter 1, Government Organization, Article 1-5, Fees, Fines, and Penalties.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Council Chaplin.
Just a comment, Your Honor, as you mentioned earlier, embedded in these fee changes are reductions in fees for uses of the West Street Ward House and meeting rooms and the auditorium at the Citywide Community Center. I just wanted to thank members of the committee who worked on that aspect of it, Councilor Fennessy, Councilor McLaughlin, yourself, and also the various community organizations that came to testify. And I'm not going to be able to mention everyone, but Change for Concord, the DAR, the Concord Crew, the Multicultural Festival, and Project Story, and others who indicated that these reductions would help increase use of these important city facilities and ensure that a fee is not a barrier to community activities. So I just wanted to express my appreciation.
Thank you very much. Any further comments? Councilor Fennessy.
I just want to echo Councilor Champlin's comments. We had a great public hearing at the community center. We had great participation from members of the community, and I think it was a great opportunity for us to hear back from the users of the community.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're ready for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk, item 26, please.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title V Administrative Code, Chapter 35, Classification and Compensation Plan, Schedule D of Article 35-2, Class Specification Index, modifying and/or adding positions specified for fiscal year 2023.
Thank you very much.
Move approval.
Thanks. Motion made and seconded to approve
Your
this.
Honor, I'd like to recuse myself from this.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Councilor Brown has asked to be recused. Any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the ayes have it. Madam Clerk, item 27, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $34,600 to demolish, remove, and dispose of the hazardous building at 107 through 109 South Main Street, and authorizing the use of $34,600 from general fund, unassigned fund balance for this purpose.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion?
Hallelujah.
I was simply going to add, it's about time. Okay, we're at the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Having received the necessary two-thirds, the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk, item 28, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $24,826.39 as a transfer to the opioid abatement reserve for fiscal year 2023 and accepting the sum of $24,826.39 in litigation settlement funds for this purpose.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Councilor Craig.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a quick comment and a reminder to everyone, especially the public, that the City Council, the city, our taxes for public safety have spent millions of dollars over the decades fighting the opioid epidemic in our community. And this $24,000 transfer that we're taking in makes a total of about $40,000 that we've gotten from this settlement. We are miles behind what we've actually spent in the community. And we'll take every single dollar, but we would really appreciate more support from the state in helping us fight the public safety aspect of the opioid epidemic in our state, in our city. Thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing none, hear the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Have received the necessary two-thirds. The motion is adopted. Madam Clerk, item 29, please.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $11,357.41 to support the Parks and Recreation Department Youth Camp Scholarship Program and accepting the sum of $11,357.41 as a donation from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation for this purpose.
Move approval. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? I just think it's worthwhile to extend a thank you to the Potter family, the Conservation Commission, and to Five Rivers Conservation Trust for making this happen. This was a real interesting flashback when you asked if there were any utilities in that area, because if you look at the map and you look where the, it is? We just did opioid. Oh, okay, I could talk about Park and Rec. You want to do that?
I was like, I didn't didn't think we were on that one yet.
No. I'm glad I'm not the only one
I
who does
changed
that.
the.
What you were saying
changed
is
the order.
lovely.
We can just skip ahead.
Do you want me to read that title instead?
Anybody have any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Have received necessary two-thirds. The motion is approved. Item 30, please.
It's a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept an executory interest in a conservation easement for property owned by the Potter Family Farm Trust located at 171 Oak Hill Road, appropriating the sum of $224,500 to purchase a conservation easement, open space conservation, and authorizing the use of $224,500 in conservation trust funds for this purpose.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, second approved. Any discussion? I just want to thank everybody involved in their work. It was fascinating you asked about the utility pole. So if you look at the 5 acres that's kind of carved out for where the house would be, right there on that corner, there's actually a telephone pole. So when I was a Ward 10 counselor, we dealt with the speed of traffic coming around that corner because they kept clipping the pole. And that's when I got to meet the Potter family, and they are an absolutely wonderful family. And they're just incredible residents of Concord, and I'm so glad that they came forth to do this. So thank you so much. But that's a flashback. That was a few years ago. Okay, so with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Have received necessary two-thirds. The motion's adopted. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 31, please.
It's a discretionary preservation easement request for property located at 184 Lakeview Drive, owned by the Floyd Atwater 2019 Trust.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made second to approve this. Is there any discussion? Councilor Quarterback.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to express the appreciation that the city has for Mr. Floyd, Ms. Atwater, and their attention to this property. Members of the council, you'd be familiar with this. Our dear friend, Dr. Black, used to live in this home, and this family is really taking care of this property. It's so important to our history. The Heritage Commission was really excited to see the care that they're taking of this barn, just in the same nature as they have at the whole property. And we're just so proud that they are good stewards to the property, the buildings, everything in this area of the city. And I wanted to express our appreciation.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, item 32, please.
It's a discretionary preservation easement request for property located at 35 Mountain Road, owned by Keith Michael and Jillian Kristen Curley.
Move approval.
Motion made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, thank you for coming out tonight. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the ayes have it. Congratulations. Okay, it takes us to item 33, please.
It's a request from Trout Unlimited requesting the city look at options to restore Merrell Park Pond, together with a report from the Parks and Recreation Director.
Mr. Manager.
Members of the council, I asked Mr. Gill to come forward, and he can, at the appropriate time, bring his team, if you'd like, and pull as many chairs as you guys want. If you want to come, you've already selected.
We've already selected the
Okay.
spokesman.
Thought I was going to have a chance to question Mr. Ives.
Good evening, Mayor, members, City Council, City Manager. If there's anybody else you'd like to call up, you can do that at your discretion. Thank you for having us. This is Richard from Trout Unlimited. In 2006, you may remember the Mother's Day flood. We got about 10 inches of rain just in Concord, just north and west of us, got almost 15 inches. People talked about it was the worst flood since 1938 hurricane. So at Merrell Park, we have a pond there that has an old earthen dam on the eastern side that got washed out. And since then, it holds water during high water marks when it's raining or snow melt. This time of year, it almost dries up. For about 30 years, Trout Unlimited has been working with the community. They've hosted the youth fishing derby at the park, and they usually 600 trout. Is that what the magic number is that I remember? A little less than that. Put trout in there for free fishing for the kids, which is exciting. So they've been talking with us for several years now. Some members of City Council, I think they've approached, they talked to myself and Beth in planning regarding what are the options that we should do, should we do it, to look at the pond to say, hey, is there a way that we can bring some aspect of the park, the pond back to hold water to make it usable for fishing and other activities. So Richard's here from Trout Unlimited.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us to speak to you folks regarding Merrell Pond. What I'd like to do, first of all, is just tell you a little bit about who we are as a chapter of Trout Unlimited, and then where, why we're here, basically, which is Merrell Pond. My name is Richard Kingston. I'm a past president and board of director member of Trout Unlimited, and I have 4 of my fellow board of directors sitting back there in the shadows someplace along with us. The Basil Woods Jr. chapter of Trout Unlimited is a nonprofit organization registered here in the state of New Hampshire. We have about 350 members. We are part of a national organization called Trout Unlimited with over 300,000 members. Our mission is basically watershed conservation and education. We were chartered here in New Hampshire in the early 1970s, and we have a 50-year history of supporting conservation projects and education classes for both children and adults. The education programs involve teaching youth and adults about fishing, as you might expect, but also about environmental conservation. We hold in-person classes, we participate in school programs, and we attend both town and state functions throughout the year. To this end, in the past 5 years, we have donated over $33,000 and over 10,000 hours of volunteer work to support these various education programs that we have, as well as projects. Well, tonight our visit centers around a very successful program that we've run for a long time called Youth Fishing Day. This program was started in about 1988, and for 35 straight years, except for 2 years during COVID, we've had Youth Fishing Day at Merrell Pond. And what this consists of is one Saturday in April, we provide instruction, we provide equipment, lots of worms, some food, and partnering with the State Fish and Game, we provide somewhere around 350 to 400 trout go into that pond. Well, come rain or shine, we typically have about 100 participants, more or less, consisting of kids under the age 15 and under, along with some very happy parents as well. I wish I could show you some pictures of kids holding up the fish, the first trout that they've ever caught. And most of these kids are missing about 3 or 4 of their front teeth, so they're youngsters, and they're having a great time. This past April, which when we had our Youth Fishing Day, we had over 150 participants. So it's been an ongoing, very successful program. Well, let's talk a little bit about Merrell Pond, and Mr. Gill has already filled you in on kind of most of the specifics here. But I just want to mention that as far as we're concerned, as far as Basil Woods is concerned, Merrell Pond is just a perfect location for us to have this program. We've run it very successfully for the first 18 years. So from about 1988, when we started on, for about 18 years, it was very successful. And conditions have obviously changed during that 2006 Mother's Day flood, when extreme damage to the water flow occurred. And so what we have ended up with now is, for the past 16 years, the pond has a very lowered water level. We've got a lot of mud and silt that are filling in, as well as a lot of vegetation around the edges. So it makes it very difficult for the kids, especially the little kids, to get in there and fish. Although I got to say, they do it, and they have a good time, and I don't recall anybody hooking anybody else, so, which is a good thing. Well, and for the past number of years, few years, probably 5 or 6 or so years, some of our volunteers have taken it upon themselves to go in with city permission, or Parks and Recreation permission, to go in and put sandbags at the outlet to try to get that water level to come up a little bit for that day at least. And we've also gone in there with spades and wheelbarrows to dig out some of the mud and the silt and some of the vegetation around the edges there. And we've had help from the city to do this as well. So obviously, restoration of Merrill Park is a priority for us, and we find it, we think it's an extremely important part of our education program, as well as being very important to Concord residents. So just to wrap things up, I've got to say that the Board of Directors from the Basil Woods chapter strongly encourages the City Council to evaluate Merrill Pond and determine what is needed to get that pond back to its prior to 2006 condition, where it would be a very good pond again for what we use and for a lot of other activities as well. Basil Woods is willing to cooperate with the city in addressing the restoration plan as it's developed. I think we can probably come up with some money for donation-wise, and we can certainly come up with volunteer hours to help in any restoration that might go on. We also have some access to grants that come through the national organization that we might be available to get to. So thank you again for your time, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Appreciate it, thank you. Anybody any questions? Appreciate it, and by the way, you sent, some of your members sent letters earlier this summer.
Yeah.
Just want you to know we all received those, and they were helpful.
We started mentioning a restoration project to parents at this past April at our Youth Fishing Day, and it was very gratifying to hear how supportive they were of us, and we started to encourage people, well, write your councilman.
Helpful. Okay, do you have anything?
I was going to ask, could you explain just briefly, if the pond was restored to the 2006 condition, what benefit would it be? Instead of having to go in and do the sandbags and whatnot, could you support a year-round population of trout there, or other fish, or what do you think the benefit would be?
There is, as far as I'm aware, there is a year-round population of warm water fish,
Okay.
like sunfish and things like that. Because I have talked to people that do fish there during other times of the year. I don't know about winter fishing. I don't know about any ice fishing that goes on there. Now, whether that pond would be ever deep enough to support a population of trout year-round is probably problematic. That takes a lot of cold water to keep them going. And I'm certainly not familiar with all the activities that go on at the pond, or what used to go on to the pond, but I have talked with other members of our chapter that live in the area and talk about skating and hockey and all kinds of things over the years.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And you'll continue to work with Mr. Gill?
Certainly.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, that takes us, this evening, we're not taking up any unfinished, there's no new, there's no unfinished to be discussed. Comments by councilors, anybody have anything they want to share? Councilman McNamara.
I was able to go to this year's National Night Out, and I just thought it was a fabulous event. I'd like to thank Concord PD for putting on National Night Out, and especially to Officer Notarangeli and Tricia Fosey for their work organizing all the volunteers. Two things. Also a reminder, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the Crisis Center of Central New Hampshire has a WHAM Walk a Mile in Their Shoes. It's always the first Wednesday in October, so this year it will be October 5th. If you'd like to join a team, I have a team, or you can register your own team, make a donation, but this is an incredible yearly fundraiser that supports the Crisis Center, not only financially, but it also empowers people to have conversations. So put that on your calendar if you don't have it.
Did you have the date?
October 5th. It's always the first Wednesday in October because that month is designated to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yep.
Thank you. Council Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My congratulations to our city clerk. I checked with one of my new constituents today on the ward changes, and they've received their notice on their new polling locations and my name and number, and so the registered voters in Ward 2 that used to be in Ward 3 and Ward 1 have been notified and understand that's going on around the city, so thank you very much for that.
You want, we'll just keep going on to Council Todd, Frederick, Brown, right around.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's this Wednesday, August 10th at 6:30 PM. The Pennacook Village Association will be holding a community discussion on the development of the 100 acres of property that was formerly owned by the Concord Monitor newspapers of New England. That meeting is going to be held at the Pennacook Elementary School in the cafeteria, which is at 60 Village Street. And so there's plans for the developer Kevin Lacasse of New England Family Housing and Ed Roberge of the engineering firm Stantec to be there and present information, concepts, and designs for discussion and input and questions. So hope to see you there at that meeting.
Thank you very much. Council Credit.
Thank you, Your Honor. Beaver Meadow Golf Course, you're all aware of the tree project that we've been doing over the last couple of years in order to thin out the trees and improve the conditions at the course, but more importantly, to get rid of some of the trees that are infected with multiple parasites that we have here in Merrimack County. They've started the Tree Legacy program. This is a great opportunity for people that have family members that have passed on, that were past members of Beaver Meadow Golf Course, players there, involved in the ski programs, etc., to purchase a tree in honor of their loved one. The trees that will be replanted will be more thoughtful about where they are placed on the course, as well as the variety of trees, so that in the future, if we do have other parasites, much like we've done in other parks across the city, that we won't lose a whole canopy in certain areas. So the Legacy program is available. Its information is available online at the Beaver Meadow Golf Course, and I would encourage, if you have a loved one that has participated at the course, join the Legacy Tree Program and help us replant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council Brown.
Thank you. I actually want to talk about trees too. I want to talk about two high school students that regularly attend the Energy and Environment Committee, Grace Chio and Janita Akina Partzan. They attended the Energy and Environment Committee when Ted Deers, the chair of the tree subcommittee, came to talk about our urban tree canopy loss and how important trees are, and he inspired them, and they took it upon themselves to plan and organize a pollinator garden at Concord High. And in collaboration with the Conservation Commission, the tree subcommittee, Live and Let Live Farm provided compost for them. This past weekend, they planted 2 trees and they prepped a pollinator garden. And these 2 young women, they raised enough money to do this, and they're working with a master gardener, Hannah McBride. So I just wanted to point that out, that having some new voices on our committees can do great things for our city. And the second thing I'd like to say is the Merrimack River Greenway Trail is hosting their Merrimack River Trail Triathlon on September 11th. It is a 4K bike around the cornfields. It is a 3K trail run and a 2K paddle. So you can sign up as a team or as an individual. It is very family friendly. You can see the dome from every leg. It is a great event, so I hope everyone comes out. And if anyone would like to join a team with me, I haven't signed up yet.
You gonna do the running or the?
No, I don't think so. Maybe my wife will. Anybody who's seen me, I don't run. I wanted to congratulate the Concord Little League 12 and under all-star team. They won the state championship last Monday night. They're currently competing at Eastern Regional down in Bristol, Connecticut. If you've got nothing to do at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, you can see them playing on ESPN in the semifinal against, it looks like Middleborough, Massachusetts. They lost a tough game to them in the first game down there, 1-0. And if they win, they'll be playing in the final on Thursday night at 5 p.m., also on ESPN. It's a great group of people, some great coaches. A number of them were teammates of my son, so just a great group, and good luck to them.
Thank you for saying that. Anyone over here? It's the quiet side of the table?
All right, well then I'll jump in. I just want to say, Councilor McNamara, I will join your team.
Fabulous.
prior to COVID, I managed to walk,
Nice.
really abuse myself significantly walking and walk a mile, and I'd be proud to be on your team.
I'll resend you the link. Okay.
You don't have to run the 3K in heels, you know.
Run?
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Manager, do you have anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then I believe that concludes our work this evening. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? All right, can I get a motion?
To adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to adjourn. Actually, before I take the vote, I just want to remind you, tomorrow night, if you're interested in I-93, the TPAC committee will be having a meeting right here in this room. I believe it's starting at 6:30, is that correct? That's correct. And it will be taped on, recorded for Concord TV. Will not be live, but I encourage anybody interested to attend. So with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.